this far, the finals, that's a great achievement.
That's right. I'm getting chills just thinking about the great topics these incredible speakers will be putting out.
So we know you're just as impatient as us to get started. So let's welcome our guest judges for this competition, Mr. Carson, Mr. Budd, and Ms. Nicholai.
Let's give all our contestants a huge round of applause, and we wish them the best of luck.
Our first contestant will be speaker number 1.
Do you know the difference between a human and a human? To be completely honest, there isn't just one difference. There is a vast amount of differences amongst humans, such as our abilities, appearances, and our personalities. For example, if you take a trip to any populated area, you'll spot all kinds of people. Some may be disabled, or some may be extremely active. And this is where the word diversity comes into play. What is diversity? Diversity is a range of different things and traits for any human being. But what I'm here to say is that no matter what your choices are, you are diverse, and you deserve respect. As you grow, there are many decisions that are out of your control, such as what school you attend, what community you live in, or what friends you'll have. With each decision comes change. Compare your grade 1 self to the person you are today. You are who you are because of the decisions you've made. There are also other decisions that are out of your control, such as who you're raised by. If your parents are abusive, the possibility of you taking your anger out on others will influence how you deal with people in the future. Imagine if someone in your family died. That just doesn't affect your family. That affects the whole community because of that person's social interactions throughout society. What about the artist Sam Smith? Sam Smith is an openly gay performer. While listening to one of his songs, Like I Can, you can see his perspective of loving the same gender. But as a person, I look at all of his accomplishments and see that this Grammy award-winning artist is celebrated for being diverse and sharing his talents with the world. His music has touched the lives of millions, with a sound that many people can identify with without judging his personal choices. But on the other hand, taking a look at average hip-hop or rap performers, they present themselves as hypermasculine. Hypermasculinity is the male stereotypical behavior, such as showing off physical strength, aggression, and sexuality. Snoop Dogg is a perfect example because of his popularity, his obvious use of drugs, and his many songs rapping about violence against women and rape, as though they're not big topics at all. In fact, Snoop Dogg is celebrating himself and the power he feels he has over others. I feel Snoop Dogg is disrespecting diversity, and the fact that he's so popular makes his message all the more powerful. And people are influenced by this, which is detrimental to women everywhere. Moreover, differences are something that can create new relationships. They can strengthen old ones. But some people don't feel that way. Some people don't use an open mind and are reactive towards different people. They see differences as something they can fear, and it often makes them angry. They don't critically think about why someone is different, or they don't think about what potential that person may have. But instead, they act negatively towards them, seek to exclude them, or even worse, bully them. If people follow this ideal, there will be a lot of conflict in the world, just as how being gay is banned in some countries. Following a gay lifestyle could get you jailed, and you will not be afforded basic human rights. If these governments and people were proactive, they would understand why someone is different, and they would be proactive. Being proactive can get you a new friend. And you might learn new things about this person. You might see that at the very core, that this person is not just one identity, but a diverse human being that deserves your respect. Socializing with people you don't normally socialize with, you're opening your mind and opening yourself to a whole new opportunity. And you're very lucky. You live in Toronto, one of the most diverse cities in the world. You can find people from all over the world, right in your neighborhood, or right even in your classroom. On my final note, I want you to acknowledge your differences and to keep an open mind, to understand others' differences and to celebrate them, rather than use it as an excuse to bully them. Keep an open mind and remember, variety is the spice of life. Cherish this idea. I would like to thank the audience for listening, and I hope you've learned something from my speech.
Thanks. I have two questions for you. First question is, what are the advantages of having the opportunity to deliver your speech first?
An advantage I find that's helpful while delivering your speech first is that you can set the bar for everyone else. And you can set a whole new expectation. And it just it deals with your nervousness, and you can get it over with.
Second question. A bit of a shock for you. I'm not an expert in rap music, but if I had a class of students, and you're saying that Snoop Dogg and maybe some other rappers have music that's not necessarily celebrating diversity. So if I had a class of students, and I wanted to help to teach them to celebrate diversity, but yet they love music of Snoop Dogg, for example, how would I approach that?
That's very easy, because there's not just rapping is not only about against diversity. You can find many rappers that celebrate diversity, such as Drake. He celebrates diversity with romantic lyrics as well.
Thank you.
When you look around the room, what do you see? I see people of both genders, girls and boys, and women and men. We stand here today identifying ourselves as equals, not making our gender of importance. And that, my friends, is the goal of gender equality. Good afternoon, honorable judges, teachers, parents, and fellow students. My name is Khan Dwyer, and today I'm going to speak to you about an imperative topic that is important to me and all. No, it's not equality in general, but gender equality. What is gender equality, you might ask? Well, it is simply the state of both males and females being treated fairly instead of putting one gender at a higher importance than the other. There is an expression that states equal pay for equal work. This is a very important right that unfortunately is not always present. When it comes to getting paid for the work you have done, it is simply fair to give both genders the same salary. You should not put one gender higher than the other. Every dollar a man earns, a woman only earns 68 cents. Does this sound fair to you? There are 4 words to describe it: the act of discrimination. We need to start thinking economically. If men and women were paid the same salary for the same work, it would increase the country's wealth. And that is why, in the future, we need to work towards closing that gap, making men and women equal in the money they earn doing the same job. This would allow females to be able to take care of their children better and rise out of poverty. I wouldn't want my future children or yours to work so hard in a community and not receive equal pay just because of their gender. More opportunities lead to happier people. Now, aside from equal pay, gender equality also takes on a role in sports. When you're at school, people may say, boys are better than girls, which is highly untrue. Stereotype. With this saying, there's no reason why girls and boys, including myself, shouldn't have the same amount of sports privileges. We should make sure that both of them have the same amount of sports teams, which will then create a sensation of fairness. Among our generation today, sports is a big thing on TV, and having that equal access is what will make those sports more successful. When I look at world sports, I have noticed that not a lot of those sports are geared towards women. They're geared towards men. A lot of women play sports like hockey, basketball, soccer, but they are not really being broadcast on TV like the men. It is better to broadcast both genders, which will then change people's stereotypical comments about how women can't play this, women can't play that. sports can be meaningful to some people. And everyone, I mean everyone, deserves a wonderful opportunity to hold and to have the same sports privileges. That is something we should strive for. Now, when we look at gender equality in our society, there are things we do to elevate it, rise it to the top, but there are still things that need to be accomplished. On March 8th, we celebrate International Women's Day to endorse gender equality and equal rights to women and girls. Go females! On November 19th, we also celebrate International Men's Day to highlight male role models and to also promote gender equality. Go males! The point I'm saying is, there shouldn't even be specific days in which we celebrate, because these are the days that should be celebrated every day. In order to further accomplish gender equality, these days should be something constant. We, as the individuals, should perform the actions like showing awareness, which will lead to a revolution of equality among the sexes. So in conclusion, gender equality is an important thing that improves society as a whole. It brings justice to males and females and is the key to happiness for individuals. Men and women, girls and boys are equal and deserve equal rights. And we should not discriminate because of what gender we are. If a better future is what we long for, we as people should stand and favor equality, because with equality, anything is possible. Now is the time we make the dream become reality. Thank you.
Thanks. My first question is, some people get nervous speaking in front of a group. What advice would you give to a friend or somebody else who's going to give a speech so that they wouldn't be so nervous?
Well, the advice I would give to them is that just don't pretend that the audience isn't there. So pretend like you're saying it by yourself, which will get rid of the nervousness.
Thanks. My second question is, you mentioned International Women's Day.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you think that men should be doing or boys should be doing to celebrate International Women's Day?
Well, what we should be doing is show awareness to domestic violence, because that is a big thing in our community right now. And when we show awareness to domestic violence, like stop doing it towards women and like show awareness towards women, it will further help women to enforce their confidence, which will then make women like more equal towards men.
Thank you.
Gender equality, a marvelous topic. Our next speech will be by speaker number 3.
Before I start, I would just like to say that throughout my speech, there will be words used such as gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender. I do not mean to offend anyone in the way these words are being said. I hope that you are all mature about these words being said, and you take this topic seriously as much as I do. Fear. That's the only way to describe how everyone feels nowadays. They're afraid. But why are they afraid? I mean, isn't the world filled with so many good things? Well, I can't say that's not true. But there are bad things in this world. Those bad people hurt and kill others because of who they are. But that's not right. We are all human, and we all should be treated equally. Gender equality is a fight that has been going on for years. Let me ask you a question. Do you know how many people who have been discriminated just because of their gender? You don't, do you? Let me ask you another question. Do you know how many women who have been brutally beaten, locked away, denied job opportunities, been told they can't vote, and never even gotten a proper education just because they're a girl? People in society always uses the term, like a girl as an insult. Oh, you run like a girl. You act like a girl. You throw like a girl. Really? When did being a girl become an insult? In 2014, the He for She campaign was made to unite both genders, to show society that men and women are equal to each other, and that both genders can do anything they wish. Now, are you going to let ignorant and selfish people tell you what you can or can't do just because of your gender? Love. A powerful word that has many meanings. We all experience love at some point in our life. Love has many meanings that till this day we can't understand them. But we do know one thing, that love is gender blind. Yes, you heard that correctly. Love is gender blind. People who are gay or lesbian are discriminated and treated differently by people in society. But isn't that love? How does liking the same gender suddenly make you a bad person? President Barack Obama once said, "Our journey is not complete until our gay brothers and sisters are treated like anyone else under the law. For if we are truly created equally, then the love we commit to one another must be equal as well." People in society always say, others who have a different sexual orientation, in other words, who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, are disgusting. But somehow abusing a girl isn't. Tell me one thing. Would you rather live in a world full of love, where it's okay for people to accept others who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender? Or would you rather live in a world full of hate, where abusing a girl is absolutely okay? But why? Right? Why should we care? It's not my problem, it's not your problem. Why should we care that girls aren't treated as equally as boys? Why should we care that gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and transgenders are treated like garbage in society? Right? It's not my problem, it's your problem. Why should we care? Well, you're wrong. We should care. Why, you may ask? Because that could be you. It could be you today, it could be you tomorrow, it could be you any time in your future. You might be gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and you might be discriminated in society. You might be told you can't vote or get a job because of your gender and your race. It's your problem, it's your fault because you didn't do anything. See how it all lands on you? But the solution is very simple. Just be kind. No one knows how powerful kindness is. Kindness can change the world. Kindness can destroy the war of hate we've all been fighting for all these years. Love. That's how we're going to feel once you start being kind. Love. They won't feel afraid anymore. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. A quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His message remains, and yet there is work to still be done, because the darkness of discrimination still exists. We are all human, we are all equal, and we all are a precious value on this earth. Thank you.
First question, how did you go about preparing for this speech?
I prepared for my speech is just making sure that writing down what I knew about gender equality and the equality of sexual orientation and equality in general. I used my prior knowledge to help me write my speech. I also used information from the library and also from my family and my friends. Then I went to the internet, looking for more examples of what I could do to make my argument stronger from my prior knowledge.
Thanks. You quoted Barack Obama, so I'm going to give you a scenario. What if you were talking to a politician and the politician said to you, "I agree with what you've just said, but I can't say that because then I'll lose votes"? What would you say to that politician?
I would say that you can't let your ego and your selfishness get to you. Yes, you may lose votes, but in the end, people are going to remember you because of what you did. It's not going to be the votes that are going to help you. It's going to be the people. Yes, you may lose votes because those are the ignorant people that aren't going to vote for you. The people that are on your side, the people that respect you, those people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, that are finally going to have the strength to come out to support you, that's what is going to get you to win. It doesn't matter if you lose votes. What matters is that you're going to be remembered because you know you did something right.
Thank you.
sickness everyone has. A sickness which grows within you, and you don't know about it. It even broke my hand. It's dangerous and could be contagious. It's not malaria, influenza, or even Ebola. Still haven't figured it out? Let me give you a clue. It's something most children do after school instead of homework. And I'm pretty sure it's not reading a book. It's usually going on TV, Instagram, Snapchat, iPods, and other technologies. Although technology has helped our society advance at a higher pace, misusing technology is similar to misusing drugs. But is our dependence increasing to the state where technology is merely a drug which we're addicted to? Good afternoon, judges, teachers, special guests, and students. Today I will be talking to you about human dependence on technology. And wait, I'll get to the hand story after. Before even talking about the effects and how we can prevent this problem, we should first know what human dependence on technology is. This is the state when a person is too addicted to a technology. This pulls them towards the technology and makes it a basic need for them. One way that your dependence on technology can affect you is distraction. While you're addicted with technology, you tend to not focus on other subject areas. This works with both young and old. Here's a scenario. You're going to the finals of the game NBA 2K15. You just can't wait to make that great achievement. But that day, you have an important history test. And instead of thinking about Abraham Lincoln and Henry V, you're thinking about LeBron James and Harden. You're so attached that the technology is the only thing on your mind. Technology also gives you notifications to keep you updated. And this is a trick by many companies, so you can be into their technologies. When my iPod went cling, I was so distracted, I ran down the stairs and fell. I broke my hand. An important reason why we must stop human dependence on technology is the craze to get it. Every time a new technology is placed into the market, everyone wants to get it. Can you believe a student in China sold his kidney to buy an iPad? This shows how they put technology first, then health. This also works with some adults. Some adults, when they get their paycheck, be honest, you always think, what can I buy? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you shouldn't be spending all your money on technologies. And another important reason, we must stop human dependence on technology because we lose daily skills. This may seem cool. With one new app you can use for smart cars, you can unlock the car, open the car, and even start the car. But we're not doing something for a pretty long time. You have chances of losing recall. According to Daily Mail, a couple almost died suffocating in a car because they forgot their keys outside. And since they were so attached with this new technology, they forgot a simple skill, to unlock a car. I believe many adults here have the GPS and depend on them for many trips. But have you ever wondered, what would you do if it broke down? As a teacher came to our classroom and asked all the students about technologies and streets, intersections, and roads, 100% of the class got the answers right for technology, and for roads, 0%. But we can prevent this. We as people should start limiting the time little by little. So if you play video games for 2 hours straight and your mom's saying, hey, get off the PS4, decrease that time to 1.5 hours. Decrease a little by little until it becomes a habit. Human dependence on technology is a deadly sickness within everyone, which even broke my hand. Doctors and scientists can't make the cure. The cure is made by you.
First question is, what do you think is the most important part of a speech and why?
I think the most important part of a speech is the introduction. I believe that because it engages your audience. Without a good starting, you're not going to have a good finish. And that's a quote by many people.
Second question, with regard to the use of technology in schools, what do you think is the right balance between introducing technology into classrooms and using it in the classroom, and then not using it at all. So where should we fall in the school situation?
Any technology is fine with the school. It depends on the students. You can even bring a 70-inch TV to this classroom, but it has to be used in a proper way. So it depends on the teachers and students.
Technology is so good. This speech is very good. Now let's give the stage to speaker number 5.
We live in a society where we are constantly reminded about our appearance. We're striving for beautiful, striving for perfect. You have to be perfect to be beautiful, right? Isn't that how it works? You have to have long hair, straight teeth, clear skin. You have to be skinny, but not too skinny. We're striving to be something we're not. We're striving to be the same. Connor Franta, a famous American YouTuber, has a big impact on teens in this society. With his viewers 13% boys and 87% girls, just over 4 million subscribers, and got 7 million views of his video of him coming out about 3 months ago. He says, "I feel like our generation is just so obsessed with the idea of perfection, and really we don't need to be because it doesn't exist." Beauty can be divided into 2 parts: inner beauty, which has to do with your personality, and external beauty, which has to do with your physical features. The definition of beauty is someone or something that pleases the aesthetic senses, especially sight. But who is anyone to tell you this is beautiful and that is not? Beauty can be interpreted in many different ways across time and culture. But the definition for this society has changed so that people find it mandatory. Media has influence on society's perception of beauty through TV shows, magazines, movies, and especially commercials and ads. Making people ask themselves, will this product make me skinnier or prettier? But most ads you see are lies. Images have been retouched to make the model look more desirable. A study of 4,294 network commercials says that 1 out of every 3.8 commercials sends some sort of message of what is and what is not attractive. People are developing unhealthy eating disorders and putting on loads of makeup to look like the photoshopped images they see in the media. And when people feel they cannot meet society's standards, it makes them feel lesser of themselves, which can lead to depression and self-harm. It hasn't always been like this. In the past decade, girls started to include makeup in their daily routine at about the age of 16, and now at the age of 11, which is 5 years younger. When I was younger, I remember I always wanted to be like the Disney princesses. I thought they were so pretty, and I looked up to them. But what do they all have in common? They're all extremely skinny with abnormally small waists. That's telling girls that that's what pretty looks like, and that's what you should look like, which is giving girls the total wrong impression. I'm not saying it's wrong to wear makeup, because I do. It's not wrong to want to work out to get yourself to your standards, because it is important to be healthy. But don't do it for anyone else. Do it for you, and only you. I believe that we are all beautiful, and we are all perfect. Yes, we have imperfections, but to me, they make us perfect because they make us different. And I just want you to remember that you're you for a reason, and to never forget that.
Why is organization so important to a good speech?
I think it's very important because if you're not organized, you can forget, and things can go wrong, and
Second question. In your speech, you talked about the idea of the fact that we're bombarded with these images and telling us what is beautiful. So assuming that you're correct in your viewpoint, how do we, or how do you promote your idea so that people have a better understanding of what beauty should be?
I just need people to remember 2 words, and that's be yourself.
Thank you.
from 5 a.m. until midnight without any food, water, or safe shelter. You are working in a dark prison wearing ripped clothing and your face is covered in carbon dust. You are working for a very little amount of pay knowing that your family is in debt. You are watching your siblings and your parents suffer from many diseases right in front of your eyes. Sadly, this is a reality. Children all over the world are experiencing this as I speak. They're hoping that one day they will wake up realizing that it was all just a dream. Good afternoon, students, teachers, my fellow competitors, and my honorable judges. Today, I would like to take you into the world of child labor. So what is child labor? Child labor is work done by children ages 4 to 14. They abandon school, sports, their playtime, and sometimes even their families and homes, just to work under severe, violent, and dangerous conditions. This is harmful to both a child's physical and mental health. On top of this, they get abused by their employers and have limited or no access to education. There are countless reasons why children become a part of child labor. Poverty is a huge reason that child labor is becoming a colossal problem around the world. In several countries, there are no labor laws to protect children. Therefore, if children's parents possibly become ill or get infected with something like HIV and AIDS, the children must continuously work. Sadly, due to this, the rate of child labor is increasing dramatically. Child labor is growing all over the world. This mainly includes Africa, the Arab states, Europe, the Pacific, and Central Asia. It also includes America and the Caribbean. Globally speaking, there are 176 million child laborers, and 73 million of those children are less than 10 years old. Different forms of child labor include selling things on the streets, doing severe hard work, and doing hard work in factories. The worst type of child labor is slavery. Buying and selling of humans is a very cruel thing to do. Another thing is involvement of drugs, which I can never imagine doing as a child. Did you know that there are many companies out there that use child labor? For example, Pakistani children work for Adidas and receive very little pay. Pakistani children also work for Nike, which most of you might probably be wearing right now. Children aged 10 to 14 in Bangladesh also make clothes for Walmart, which is a store you can find throughout Scarborough. You may be wondering what inspired me to do such a topic like this. Well, when I was 7, I went to school in Bangladesh, and it was something I took for granted. Until one day when that all changed. I was walking to school, and I saw a kid working with bricks on his head. And I thought to myself, why would he be doing that? That day, I found out about child labor, and ever since, I've been very inspired by this topic, and I've learned how lucky I am to have an education. You may also be wondering why I'm wearing this Gap sweater right now. Well, this Gap sweater may have been made by a child laborer. Children in India work 16 hours a day to hand sew clothes that we are lucky to wear. I am lucky today to wear this because some child in India gave up his or her time to make it. So for those of you who wear some major brand names, you might want to think twice before you spend your money from now on. At the moment, you may be feeling guilty for wearing clothes that a child laborer may have made. Maybe even feeling sympathetic for those who suffer to give us pleasure. Well, there is a way we can help. There is an organization called UNICEF where you can donate as an individual or as a group. So say if one person donates 5 cents a day and gets a group of 200 people to donate, this will add up to $300 a week, which is $3,600 a year. And think, that is a huge help, because children out there only make $1 a week, which is $52 a year. So think, it only takes one to create a chain reaction, one to create a difference, one to create a huge, impacting change. Thank you.
First question for you is, why do you think it's important to become good at public speaking?
Because especially like now that we're in grade 8, we're going to high school next year, and in high school, if you don't speak up, like the teacher will never get to know you, and especially the fact that the class sizes will be much bigger, the teacher has to get to know you in order for you to get good marks and be known and get into clubs and other stuff.
And you've got a number of students here, not just from military jail, but your competitors who are at other schools. And so if they were to have been inspired from what you just said, and they wanted to go back to their own school and do something about the issue of child labor, what would you suggest they should do?
I would suggest them to show like the UNICEF website or the Free the Children website, because that has like lots of information about how you can donate and stuff, and basically you can choose which family and how much money you want to donate and all that stuff. So yeah, basically just get your friends to know about it and get them inspired and see if they want to donate.
Thank you.
Child labor, how terrible. A job well done. Now let's call up speaker number 7.
Did you take that selfie 23 times before actually posting it? Did you make sure you look really good to impress your friends? Nowadays, teenagers are consumed with the idea of impressing their peers. Honorable judges, staff, and fellow students. Teenagers are obsessed with themselves. So now you're probably thinking, what? No way. I do things to make myself happy, not to impress others. But you're in fact a narcissist. Narcissism is when you put your own thoughts, needs, and experiences above everyone else around you. We're all a bit narcissistic, but lately teens have been portraying this trait quite frequently. Studies have shown a steady increase in teenage narcissism since the 1970s. From the selfies we all take, to how many followers we want every day, to how we always consider other people's opinions before doing anything for ourselves. On Instagram, you can post photos and videos, but I know at least half of you have posted one photo of yourself. Well, I guess the actual term is a selfie. You know, it's really embarrassing to be the generation of the selfie. I mean, aren't you embarrassed that so many kids in your generation took photos of themselves that a word was made? In 2014, the term selfie was added to the Oxford Dictionary. And we all know that one person whose page is purely selfies. According to data from Samsung, about 1/3 of photos posted by people aged 18 to 23 are in fact selfies. We sit down and filter out our acne and imperfections so much that now 14% of photos posted online are digitally enhanced. So we spend our days taking these photos of ourselves instead of appreciating the world around us. But at the end of the day, no one's going to think about your selfies. On social media, you can gain followers, but who here actually takes pride in the amount of followers that they have? Now, I know no one wants to admit it, but we all silently want a few more online friends. For some people, that means having to buy them, and for others, it means following others in hopes of getting a few likes back. But either way, we've all looked at our follower lists and thought, just a few more and I'll be popular. You know, no one actually cares about the amount of followers that you have. Websites and magazines give tips on how to gain followers. They expect us to pay money to know the tricks behind it. They expect us teenagers to be gullible enough, and some of us actually fall for it. You're not lame if you only have 50 followers, and you're most definitely not considered popular just because you have 1,000. We only post the best pictures of ourselves to get these likes and comments. But for anything, I think you're pretty foolish for getting excited over hitting 100 likes. As Yate Abdul once said, as you get older, you realize it becomes less important to have more friends and more important to have real ones. So at the end of the day, your 1,000 followers are totally irrelevant considering they're not even going to be your real friends. But caring about other people's opinions is inevitable. We're all going to do it. It's like when we have no uniform days, we're thinking about what we're going to wear. What you don't realize you're doing is you're putting on clothes that you know your friends are going to like, not what you truly like. It's like when you go shopping and there's that voice in the back of your head saying, oh, buy that, that's a popular brand. Buy that, your friends are totally going to compliment you. It's like how every guy needs a fresh pair of Jordans. 63% of teens would rather buy a pair of jeans than concert tickets. We spend our days looking at the biggest trends and following them just to seem popular in comparison to our peers. We pretend to like the same music as our friends, so we feel less insecure about the music that we truly like. We think about ourselves all day and how we can impress our friends and seem better. So tell me right now, why do you care about the amount of followers you have? Why did you take that selfie 23 times and then filter out your acne before posting it? It's because we all want to be accepted, yet somehow be seen as original and popular. We obsess over the smallest little things that's becoming natural for us. No one takes a second look at your selfies, and no one cares about how many people commented saying that you're hot. No one's going to look at you differently if you have 1,000 followers or expensive clothing. As teenagers, we're the future of society, and our look on the world is so important. But if all you think about is yourself and how you can look better than others, what are you doing for yourself? You have to learn to be yourself, accept yourself, and stop trying so hard. Thank you.
First question is, how did your family help you with this speech?
Oh, so I basically ran over the speech with my sister and my parents a lot, and I made sure they gave me like really good constructive criticism no matter how hard it would be for me to take it, and I told them to give me kind of tips on how to make my speech better and improve my performance.
Second question is, thinking about your point about teenagers being self-centered. So if somebody was listening to you and thought, you know what, I am maybe being a bit too self-centered, if you're taken to the next step, how would you convince them that their quality of life would improve if they were less self-centered?
Because then you're going to be less concerned about what other people are thinking. You're going to be happier. You're going to be more at peace with yourself if you just learn to, accept yourself and not think about how other people see you.
Spectacular performance.
Wow, so far what we have seen is off the hook. The contestants are doing a fantastic job.
I totally agree. This is going to be one tough competition. Now let's welcome our next speaker, speaker number 8.
Good morning, my name is Max Lee, and I am an atheist, which means I do not believe in God. However, in this very audience, there may be a few Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and so on. There are all sorts of religions, beliefs, and philosophies out there, some stranger than others. One of these is solipsism. So what is this solipsism? Solipsism is the belief or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist. Only you know that you exist, basically. Allow me to explain. It is common knowledge that we have 5 main senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. And we use these senses to explore our world. For example, imagine you're sitting at a desk, and on top of that desk is an apple. How do you know that apple is there? Your senses. You can see the apple, you can smell the apple, you can touch the apple, you can hear the apple when you bite into the apple, to taste the apple. It would all work, unless of course your apple isn't an apple, but a licensed Apple device. Either way, there's still a little problem about that. How senses work is that they give your brain cool little nerve signals that your brain then turns into what you sense. What you sense is literally a projection of your mind. That apple is just a few nerve signals. Think about your dreams at night. Even when the dream seems weird, like if you see a purple monkey or something, your senses still work, your sight, your hearing, and all that. But when you wake up in the morning, you know that purple monkey was just an illusion. Solipsism proposes that we live in that sort of dream world every day. Solipsism proposes that life is like an illusion. You may be thinking, how is that possible? Is there another side to the story? Well, there are in fact several arguments against solipsism. First of all, imagine a situation where 2 strong believers of solipsism meet each other at a Tim Hortons. Now, according to the philosophy of solipsism, one of these solipsists is the creation of the other's mind. Things can get quite confusing to the point of full-on Wild West-style saloon brawl in that Tim Hortons. Then there's a situation of explaining solipsism to someone when you are a solipsist. You would have to convince them that you are a projection of their mind. But as a solipsist, you believe that they are a projection of your mind. Now you may be thinking, what is the point then? Is solipsism real or not? What is the point of this long speech of mine? Well, audience, there's still a lot of controversy over solipsism, but there are a few good things worth learning from. We, as a human race, are the closest proven things to God. The truth is, us Homo sapiens are incredible. We were the first species to harness fire, the first to make electricity, the first to create medicine to extend our lifespan, the first to fly into space, the first with Wi-Fi. We are incredible. As Lipsism says, this is our universe. Like in those lottery commercials you see on TV, the world is our playground. Yet sometimes we come to school all sad, mopey. Ugh, it's a bad day. I don't feel like doing anything. But when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Once you made that lemonade, sell that lemonade. With the money you got from the lemonade, buy that purple monkey from your dreams and feed it to the lemonade. Thank you.
What are the most important things to keep in mind when giving a speech?
What's most important about giving a speech is how you present it. It's less about the content and more.
Talk.
You're brown. You can't drink from that fountain. You're Chinese. You can't attend this school. You're black. You can't sit there on my bus. You're colored. You are under my control. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Arthika and my purpose today is to raise your awareness about racism. First things first, what is racism? Racism is the belief that one's own race is superior and has the right to rule or dominate others. In other words, racism is an act regarding the power one has because of the color of their skin. It is sad to say the world has not evolved as much as we think it has. Many of you are not aware of the fact that people around the world had and still are judged by the color of their skin. Many people still believe that people of color don't deserve equal rights or freedom as white people do. But why? They still think treating others like slaves is normal. It's appropriate. It's right. Well, it's not. Why does the color of our skin matter? Though we are different on the outside, we're identical on the inside. Some people just can't seem to understand that. Some people just won't. Racism has played a huge role in our past. It all began in the year 1608, year the first black person arrived to North America. Since then, racism has grown to be a huge issue. At around the 1900s, all blacks were judged and discriminated against both Canada and America. This segregation led to false assumptions and death, either by suicide or murder. Black people who arrived to North America to be free were captured and sent to white caregivers to work as slaves. In the past centuries, this race has surpassed many obstacles, faced numerous dangers, and sacrificed their lives, all for what? For the rights they deserved? If you come to think of it, racism is a form of extreme bullying. Back in the day, when the first black person arrived to Canada, the white people decided it was right to judge and taunt them, to take advantage of their skills and abilities, to torture and torment them with no mercy, all because of their skin color. What did they do wrong? Was it their fault that they were born black? What they did not know was that there are a few brave citizens, like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, etc., who won't stand aside and watch their race being treated unfairly. These are two of the many activists who are against racism and did something about it. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Martin Luther King Jr. The only tired I am is tired of giving in. Rosa Parks. As I mentioned earlier, these are 2 of the many activists who put themselves out on the line to once and for all end racism. Prove to those who judged and harmed them that black people will no longer put up with this torture. They will no longer stand aside and watch their fellow brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles being tormented. They will stand up for what's right, for their rights. I just want to share this very simple yet very meaningful poem written by an African child from his point of view of the word color. When I am born, I am black. As I grow up, I am black. When I'm at the sun, I am black. When I'm scared, I'm black. When I'm sick, I'm black. And when I die, I'm still black. And you, white fellow, when you're born, you're pink. As you grow up, you're white. When you're out in the sun, you're red. When you're cold, you're blue. When you're scared, you're yellow. When you're sick, you're green. And when you die, you're gray. And you call me colored? This poem represents the point of view of an African child who experienced the wrath of racism either visually or personally. It expresses the fact that in a way, both white and black are colored, therefore neither of them should be judged. In essence, all people of all colors are equal. It is time for the final stage. It's our mission to finish what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. began, continue the dream, save it from being demolished by the future. It's our goal to stand up for ourselves, join forces, and work together as a society, like Rosa Parks did.
It's our duty to create a better, racism-free future for the children of tomorrow. I have done my part, now it's your turn. Are you ready? Thank you.
How might this experience that you're having today help you in the future?
In the future, like right now, I'm just burning up inside because I'm really nervous. But I'm gonna have to start getting used to this so I don't break down when I go for job interviews, presentations. I'm gonna have to get used to the nervousness. I'm gonna have to get used to looking at people in the eye, looking over their heads, presenting in front of people without being shy. Doing this will help me broaden my skills for presentations and other followers.
Thank you. Next question, which is you had a very positive message to your speech, and you talked about racism over the last few centuries. What would you say to, well, it could be anybody, but I'm thinking of American television right now and what's happening in the United States. I'm thinking of what happened in Ferguson in the summer, and then in New York with I Can't Breathe, and then just this past week with the black gentleman who was running away and got shot by a white police officer. So what would you say to somebody who said to you right now, I want to believe that racism will continue to exist, but I'm not very optimistic based on what I've seen over the last year?
Well, it's just that if you start to believe as a person, then you can get, if you start to believe, you can get your friends to believe. Get your friends to be your their friends will start believing. And then soon, you can then see that a whole group of people will start believing. When a group of people believes, something will happen. There will be actions will be taking place, and sooner or later, racism will end. And I believe that. So.
Thank you.
The time and effort you put into your speech really showed. Our next contestant is speaker number 10.
Every child has the right to have a say. Every child has the right to be free, grow up, and smile bright. Every child has the right for a full education. And every child can stand up for their rights. Fellow students, teachers, parents, guests, and wonderful judges, my name is Jenny, and today I'm going to take you through a powerful journey of the struggles and triumphs of many young child brides across the globe. Today, I'm going to talk about what child marriage is, a few short stories on a few girls and their courage to stand up, and the biggest solution to end this. Wait. Okay, so what is really child marriage exactly? Child marriage is usually the end of education for girls. It means having to drop out of school, not having the rights for full education. Child marriage is the jump from childhood to adulthood. Now, some girls get married as young as 8. To men old as 40. Whoa, no. That's like 32 years apart. More than 40% of girls in India get married young. In Bangladesh, 2,000 girls. In Nigeria, 1,200. In Brazil, Ethiopia, Pakistan, Indonesia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mexico, and in Niger. The number of child brides range from 200 to 700. There are several reasons why girls have to be forced into early child marriage. Number 1, poverty. Maybe the child's mother has to give her away due to not being able to support her education fees anymore. Or that he has the rest of the other siblings to take care of. Second, puberty. In many Asian countries, as soon as a girl becomes a woman, her wedding planning starts to take place. And last, feminism. In areas around the world, a girl's future is already planned from the day she's born. She goes to school 4 or 5 years, drop out, get married, become a housewife, and have children. It is said that only men are allowed to have a free future, and only men can get their dream job. Now, I'd like to introduce you to 3 girls who share this story today. Raja Tibaiwa, age 17. Dreams of going to school and becoming a doctor, but lives in a country where millions of girls are married before the age of 18. When Raja Tibaiwa found out that her parents arranged her marriage, she went to school and told her friends for help. With the help of her friends, she successfully stood up in front of her parents and said no to the marriage. Next, Leila, age 14, hasn't seen her husband yet before the marriage, but yet submitted as they bounded the white wedding cloth. They covered her eyes now, so she wouldn't be able to escape the marriage. Right there. Child marriage gives girls no opportunity at all to make choices on their own. Next and last, Noe's first child, right there, age 12, is practically an ordinary girl. She loves going to school, spending time with friends, listening to her favorite band, One Direction, and dreams of going to school and dreams of becoming a doctor when she grows up. These girls are all just like us. They have dreams, but yet child marriage puts an end to that. The number one biggest solution to end this is education. The longer a girl stays in school, the less likely to be married young. The longer a girl stays in school, the less likely to have children during her teenage years. So, yes, we all know that every one of us has said, ugh, that new language assignment due tomorrow? That novel study book we were told to understand and answer questions to. And when you learn that you're learning about dead people in history. But just think of those little innocent boys and girls who don't have the same opportunities that we get. Just think. Early child marriage affects both genders, but in this case it affects girls the most, as there are more of the victims. Due to early pregnancy, girls die young. Their bodies are not fully developed, so become weaker at pregnancy. So, wrapping everything up, let's support everyone and spread the word. Today we talked about what child marriage is, the many reasons and solutions, and big dreams! Hope you all learned a little about child marriage, and have a wonderful day.
First question is, what are some ways for teachers to help their students become better public speakers?
Well, the teachers could assist the students with tips and their knowledge prior to probably the subject that they're speaking. And just to make them feel comfortable and tell them that you should be comfortable in your own pace and your topic.
Second question. Some of us are probably sitting here thinking, it's a very important topic, but why does this even happen in the first place? So from a family perspective or a parent perspective, why is this allowed to happen?
Well, it's probably the parents don't understand the kids' point of view. They probably, number one big problem is poverty. So they want their kids, they wouldn't want them to have a full education. They don't really care about girls growing up and achieving their dreams. All that's important to them is that they get married and have kids. That's it.
Thanks.
Wow, phenomenal job. Last but definitely not least, we'd like to call up speaker number 11, our showstopper for today.
Imagine living in a small room. This room is made of cloth, a few wood pieces, and maybe even cardboard. This room can't protect you from those chilly winter nights, nor from from the scorching summer days. Yes, this is what you would call home. Now imagine wandering through a deserted desert, feeling the sun's boiling hot rays directly on your body. Your head feels like exploding, and your body feels like collapsing into the sea of sand. But still, you keep on going. There's still many long hours of walking ahead of you. All you're looking for is a small supply of fresh water to drink. This is struggle. This is poverty. Hello, my name is Miriam Anwar, and today I will be talking to you about children living in poverty. What is poverty? According to World Bank, poverty is hunger. Poverty is a lack of shelter. Poverty is being sick and not being able to get a doctor. Poverty is not having access to school, not being able to read, and not having a job. Poverty is a fear of the future. Poverty is living one day at a time. Often, we may have come home and said the phrase, "I'm starving," but do we really understand what starving feels like? Have we actually ever starved before? Probably not, but these poor children living in poor developing countries have. They starve. They've starved from hunger. They've gone to bed empty stomach without even having one proper meal a day. Some of these children work all day long for hours and hours, hoping that today they'll earn enough money to afford 3 proper meals that will fill their stomachs up for themselves and their families. But at the end of the day, still, many don't have the money. According to UNICEF, about 22,000 children die every single day in results of poverty. They die quietly in some of the world's poorest villages, so their deaths are not even noticeable. These children are just like you and me, but so many of them have missed out on their childhoods because their lives are filled with endless struggles. These children don't complain about the little they have. They've accepted their lives. They know that they're poor. They also know they may not even live another day, but they still continue to struggle. Do we know the value of education? We go to school every day, don't we? But have we ever stopped and thought about how lucky we are to be getting this education? Numerous of children around the world can only ever dream of going to school, getting education, and obtaining knowledge for their future. Did you know that approximately a billion people had entered the 21st century not knowing how to read or even write their own name? If there are some kids out there that do have access to education, they still don't have proper school supplies to work with, nor a proper working place to work in. Many have already been affected by viral diseases in many developing countries. The cure for these diseases have been found, but the people and families and children that are affected by these diseases cannot even afford to buy the cure or get the vaccine. Did you know that Africa reports over 80% of malaria deaths, and African children report over 90% of malaria victims worldwide? These children cannot even go to the doctor's office and get treatment for their illnesses like we can. They have to pay for their health care. The amount they have to pay may seem small to us, but for them, it's a very large value. The world around us has developed so much in technology that even a child has access to some kind of technology, an iPad, an iPhone, a tablet, a laptop. But have any of you guys ever stopped and thought about how lucky we have any of you guys ever stopped while playing on your phones and thought about how many people at that moment are living without electricity? Approximately 1.6 billion people live without electricity every single day. When I think about this, I don't even know how they survive. These families with children have to find alternate and difficult ways of living. They can never just lie around, playing on their phones like we can. I bet you most of them have never even touched a phone before. So, this just comes to show you how lucky we are and how many things in life we take for granted. We need to stop and value these resources because so many people across the world are not provided with the same. The world's future is now in our hands, and we need to reshape this world together. A world where we share the prosperity. A world where no child sleeps hungry. A world where no child is left without education. A world where no child dies because proper health care wasn't provided. A world a world where not only the rich, but also the poor will have a right to